YouTube channel. I am extremely happy to welcome you all for this module, lecture 29 of my control systems lecture series. Here I am going to discuss about the state space analysis using canonical variables. The learning objectives of this presentation are to obtain the state space representation using canonical variables from the mathematical model and to understand the importance of this canonical model in the state feedback. Before moving on to the canonical variables state space representation, first of all I want to put some questions to the learners. How state variables are chosen in state space analysis using phase variables? Because in the last two lectures, that is lecture 28 and 27 in the control system lecture series, we have seen how to obtain the state space representation using phase variables. That is part 1 and part 2 with zeros and without zeros. I think in lecture 27, only with poles and without zeros we have seen how to obtain state space analysis using phase variables. In 28, lecture series 28, we have seen how to obtain the state space analysis for the system with poles as well as zeros using phase variables. Then before that, we have seen how to obtain the state space analysis using physical variables for electrical systems, mechanical systems, then electromechanical systems, all that. So what are the advantages of these two methods basically? So I just want the learners to think over this. Then I will go to the next slide. Yeah. See, phase variable form, whether it is part 1 or part 2, that lecture, that is with zeros or without zeros, it can be generalized to computer models. See, we know very well that in the phase variable form, the system matrix A, the last row will be the negative of the coefficients of the characteristic equation written in the reverse order. Similarly, elements just above the row, diagonal elements will be unity, remaining elements are zeros. So that form can be easily realized by simulation using the computer. That means we can have some simulation model straight away just by seeing the transfer function. So generalization is easier, but the state variables, they do not have any physical relevance because we simply take output as one state variable, other state variables we take them as derivatives of output. So we don't know whether they have real physical relevance. However, this particular form, phase variable form, is used in pole placement design in the state feedback analysis. Right. This is with respect to the question asked here. What is the advantage of state space analysis using phase variables? Then what are the advantage of physical variables? So how they are chosen? First of all, in physical variable we choose the variables in such a way that they correspond to the energy storing elements. We choose as many state variables as the number of energy storing elements. So based on the system and based on how we choose these state variables, the generalization may change. Therefore, generalization is not possible. We cannot say that this is the state model of this particular phase variable form, physical variable form. It is not possible. So it varies from system to system and how we assign the state variables. Now we are going to see a totally different state space model. This is canonical variable form. Introduction. For example, you have a transfer function. We have seen that the transfer function can be written in partial fraction form. So this we can easily do it. A transfer function, we know the transfer function will have poles and zeros. In the physical variable form and the phase variable form, we just multiply the transfer function, the numerator denominator cross multiplication we have done in the phase variable form, and we have assigned the state variables. But that is by taking output as one of the state variables. Here, the transfer function is written in partial fraction form because after all it will have zeros and poles. So when you write it in the partial fraction form, you can have a constant. Then if there are three terms, if the order of the system is 3, then we will have 3 factors. For example, the number of poles is 3, you will have 3 terms. If the number of poles is 4, we will have 4 terms. We know very well that number of poles can always be greater than or equal to number of zeros. Number of zeros can never exceed the number of poles in any system. So keeping that mind, what we can say is we will have these 2, 3, 4 terms corresponding to the number of poles. So here the C1, C2, C3 are the partial fraction residues, and this lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, that is with the negative sign, they are called the poles of the transfer function. So unlike the phase variable form, here the poles of the transfer function which have got meaning, right? The poles have got meaning to the physical system. The poles are taken for formulation of the canonical variable form. That means it is having some sort of physical relevance. So these C1, C2, C3 are partial fraction residues. So here what I have done is I have taken S outside in the denominator. S is taken outside. So S plus lambda 1 means S is taken outside. S into 1 plus lambda 1 by S. Similarly, here also written, here also written. So we can write this S can be combined to here. Similarly, this S can be combined to here. S can be combined to here. Finally, this is Y of S by U of S. That is Y of S by U of S equal to B naught plus the C1 is taken outside. So 1 by S divided by 1 plus 1 by S into lambda 1 plus this C2 is taken outside. So 1 by S divided by 1 plus 1 by S into lambda 2. Similarly this. Here how I am doing the state assignment is this entire thing, that is the coefficient of C1 is taken as x1 after multiplying this U of S with this. That is I am writing Y of S as V naught into U of S plus this into U of S into C1 plus this into U of S into C2 plus this into U of S into C3. That is for Y of S I am talking about. Therefore, 1 by S into U by 1 plus S by lambda 1 plus 1 by S lambda 1 is x1. That is coefficient of C1 after multiplying with this U. So here, how can we write this? Is the this S if we multiply both numerator and denominator by S, U by S plus lambda 1. Therefore, U by S plus lambda 1 equal to x1. Therefore, U is equal to cross multiplication Sx1 plus lambda x1. So, U by S plus lambda 1. So, S plus lambda 1 x1 equal to U. So, U equal to Sx1 plus lambda x1. Therefore, what is Xx1? S means differentiation. So, x1 dot. So, what is x1 dot? You bring this to left hand side. U minus lambda 1 x1. Similarly, here again 1 by S by 1 by 1 plus S lambda 2 you assign to x2 after multiplying with U. That is in that case you will get x2 dot as U minus lambda 2 x2. Similarly here x3 dot is U minus lambda 3 x3. So that is what I have written. X1 dot is minus lambda 1 x1 plus U. X2 dot is minus lambda 2 x2 plus U. X3 dot is minus lambda 3 x3 plus U. Even we can see this from the block diagram also. Therefore, how to draw the block diagram? Very simple. Take x1 dot, x2 dot, x3 dot, x1, x2, x3. x1 is integration of x1 dot, x2 is integration of x2 dot, x3 is integration of x3 dot. Integration means 1 by S. So 1 by S, 1 by S, 1 by S. Now I want to have x1 dot. So minus lambda 1 x1. So from x1, feed it to a block with the gain minus lambda 1. That should be added to U. So from U, you have a signal. These two you add, you will get x1 dot. What is x2 dot? Minus lambda 2 x2 plus U. That means from x2, have a block with a gain minus lambda 2. So minus lambda 2 x2. Here you have U. So adding this, you will get x2 dot on integration x2. Similarly, minus lambda 3 x3. So x3 into minus lambda 3. So plus U, that is your x3 dot. On integration is x3. Now output. How we have written output? See, y is equal to b naught u plus this is your x, right? So that is u multiplied by this is x. Therefore b naught u plus c1 x1 plus c2 x2 plus c3 x3. So c1 x1 plus c2 x2 plus c3 x3. Since here you have u, so b naught u. So b naught u plus this into u, that is x1 c1 x1. This into u is x3 x2 c2 x2. This into u is x3, so c3 x3. So we will get u is equal to c1 x1 plus c2 x2 plus c3 x3 plus v naught u. So we can write the state equations and output equation in vector matrix notation. So here you can find that x1 dot depends only on x1 minus lambda 1 and u. x2 dot depends on minus lambda 2 u. x3 dot depends on minus lambda 3 u. That means it depends on x1 dot depends on x1 alone, x2 dot depends on x2 alone, x3 dot depends on x3 alone apart from input. So other elements are 0. So this is a peculiar form. So you can see that this is nothing but a diagonal matrix with poles as the diagonal elements. So poles of the transfer function minus lambda 1. So poles are minus lambda 1, minus lambda 2, minus lambda 3. So poles of the transfer function happen to be the diagonal elements of this system matrix. And this matrix B has got all the elements unity. And here y c1 x1 c2 x2 c3 x3 added. So c1 c2 c3, that means partial fraction residues happen to be the C matrix, right? So this is a C matrix. So D matrix, it is only a scalar, so du. So D is simply b naught u. That's all. So system matrix is a diagonal matrix and diagonal elements are poles of the transfer function. Suppose the poles are repeated, you have repeated poles, then what you will get means, for example, there are 5 poles with minus lambda 1 getting repeated thrice, and the other poles are minus lambda 4 minus lambda 5, means we will get a peculiar form called the Jordan canonical form. So such a form is written here. See, minus lambda 1 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 1 minus lambda 4 minus lambda 5, that is absolutely same as this, but here the difference is, since this minus lambda 1 is occurring thrice, element above this minus lambda 1 is 1, element above this minus lambda 1 is 1, these elements are zeros. That means this block is actually called Jordan block. This block, whatever is highlighted with the red, it is called the Jordan block. So this Jordan block happens to be, it comes from the repeated poles. So for this minus lambda 1 minus lambda 4 minus lambda 5, this is perfectly a diagonal matrix. Perfectly a diagonal matrix. But for the entire matrix A, it is not a diagonal matrix. You have diagonal elements as the poles, but 2 elements just to the right of this are 1 because poles are repeated. Or I can say, we have to see the last row of the Jordan block. Last row of the Jordan block is this. This is the Jordan matrix. So last row is this. Yeah, the row above to the last row, you will have 1 to the right of the diagonal elements. So rest of the elements are zeros. That is what I have highlighted, right? So here again you can have 1 1 1 here similar to this, but corresponding to the rows before the last row, the elements of B are zeros. Here all are 1, here not all are 1, because this for the entire thing minus lambda 1 is the pole, only pole occurring thrice. Therefore corresponding to these 2 rows, the elements are zeros. So these 3 are unity. So this is why we have to generalize. Let us understand this with the help of an example. So the transfer function is given. I think the same transfer function we have used in the control system lecture series 28, if I am right, part 2, that is phase variables part 2. So construct the state model. 3 state models I have said that. So one state model I have done that time. Now I am doing the second state model. So this is done with the partial fraction. Anyway, instead of C1, C2, C3, I have used ABC. So the transfer function is expressed using partial fraction. So the partial fraction residues are determined. I think this you can easily understand. You can use your own method instead of doing like this. If you have your own method, you do it and find out the residues. So the residues are 40 by 3 minus 15 5 by 3. Now you write y of s by u of s in proper form. So a is 40 by 3. So 40 by 3 into 1 by s. B by s plus 1. So minus 15 by s plus 1. C is 5 by 3. 5 by 3 by s plus 3. So y of s by u of s is 40 by 3 into 1 by s minus 15 by s into 1 plus 1 by s plus 5 by 3 by s. Here s is taken outside, that's all. But even we can do straight away. So here what we can understand is how we assign the state variables. Anyway, this I have written only for that form. We can write from here straight away this. Even these two are not required. So this is 1 by s. Anyway, u we are bringing this side. So 1 by s into u is x1. 1 by s into u is x1. So s into x1 is x1 dot is u. Here u of s by s plus 1. U of s by s plus 1. So u by s plus 1 is x2. So sx2 is x2 dot. So plus x2. x2 if it is brought to the other side minus x2 plus u. So here 5 by 3 into 1 by s plus 3 into u. That means u by s plus 3 is taken as x3. sx3 is x3 dot plus 3x3 if it is brought to the other side minus 3x3 plus u. So this is one state equation. This is second state equation. This is the third state equation. So these three state equations are written here. x1 dot is u, x2 dot is u minus x2, x3 dot is u minus 3x3. So here 40 by 3 into, so 1 by s, u of s by s only is written as x1. So 40 by 3 x1 minus 15 x2 plus 5 by 3 x3 is your y. Yeah. 40 by 3 x1 minus 15 x2 plus 5 by 3 x3. So we can write these two, that is state equations and output equation, in the vector matrix notation in the same way in which we have generalized. So here there is no x1 term because the pole is 0. Pole is at origin. The pole is at origin, that's all. The second pole is minus 1. Third pole is minus 3. So it's a diagonal matrix. No repetition. So no Jordan canonical form. x1, x2, x3. All the elements are unity. Almost same, not almost, same form of this. These are the residues. That is how we got. So the residues 40 by 3 minus 15, 5 by 3, x1, x2, x3. We can represent this in the block diagram form in the same manner. So first you have to write x1 dot, x2 dot, x3 dot, we have written. So x1, x2, x3 on integration. For example, x1 dot is u means x1 dot, this is u. So u is x1 dot on integration x1. x2 dot is what? Minus x2. So from x2 have minus 1, add to u x2 dot integration x2. So yeah, what is x3 dot? So x3 dot is minus 3x3. So from x3 gain minus 3. So plus u. So minus 3x3 plus u is x3 dot. That's all. Then we know 40 by 3 x1 plus minus 15 by x2 plus 5 by 3 x3 is y. So for that we have summers. That's all. So I think I have made you to understand how to obtain the canonical form of the state model. Very simple. Simply take the partial fraction. After taking partial fraction, find out the residues. So the diagonal elements of the matrix A happens to be the poles. Then remaining elements are zeros. That means it's a diagonal matrix, matrix A. Matrix B, all elements are unity. Matrix C, all the elements are simply residues. There is one more third form. Already first form we have seen in the last lecture, state model. Second state model we have seen now. Third state model, very simple. For example, the same thing, if I am writing like this, that is, instead of writing 1 by s into u as x1, this 40 by 3 is also combined here, then 40 by 3 will come. Here this minus 15 also combined, so minus 15 will come. Here this 5 by 3 also will come. In that case, what will happen is x1 dot will be this 40 by 3 into u. So x2 dot is minus x2 plus that is minus 15u. Similarly, x3 dot is minus 3x3 plus 5 by 3u. That means the C1, C2, C3 will come with the u. Therefore, what will happen is, here we will have C1, C2, C3. Here we will have C1, C2, C3. Therefore, since we are taking the entire thing as x1, that is 40 by 3 by s as x1, similarly 15 by s plus 1 with the minus sign as x2, and this with as x3 means y of s is simply x1 plus x2 plus x3, that's all. Therefore, these elements will be 1, 1, 1. Therefore, in the third form, these two are interchanged. The roles of B and C are interchanged. That's all. So the inferences from this is, each state equation depends on the state and input alone. Each state equation depends on that particular state and the input alone. It doesn't depend on this other state. Therefore, we can say they are decoupled. Each state equation is decoupled from other. So, state equations are decoupled of one another. The n first order differential equations are independent of each other. That is what we have said. If the state model of a system is represented in canonical form, the system is controllable and observable. We will see later in controllability and observability lecture, we will see if it is possible for us to express a system state model in canonical form. We don't have to check whether it is controllable and observable. It will be definitely controllable and observable. Therefore, what we can understand is, all the controllable and observable systems can be represented by canonical state models. So I think I have made you to understand how to represent the state space representation using the canonical form. So in the next lecture, we will see how to solve the state equations. We will also see how to find the transfer function from the state model. So these two we will see in the future videos. After that, we will see the controllability and observability. Then we will move on to some gate modules, left out modules in our series. Because I have done up to classical control, for state space I have not done. To bridge the gap only, I am doing the regular control system lecture series now. If you have any doubts, please post your comments or queries in the chat box, or you can do it in my email ID. I have already given you the email ID. You can even do the WhatsApp. So I want you to subscribe my channel and share the videos with a huge section of learning community. Till I meet you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.